In 2018, the government of Uganda, through the Directorate of Ethics and Integrity, embarked on developing a national religious faith-based policy aimed at enhancing collaboration and to streamline cooperation between government and religious organizations. The Constitution grants freedom of worship. However, the rising cases of criminality, promiscuity, and divisions among religious leaders, government plans to regulate religious beliefs.
First of all, we have to appreciate that this is called the National Religious and Faith-Based Organizations Policy. That means it has a national perspective.
According to Bishop David Chiganda, the president of the National Pastors Forum, and also the senior pastor at Christian Focus Center, the planned regulations are uncalled for since there are already existing laws in place.
Much as guidelines are important in a society, in our case, especially in this case, in the case of this policy, I'm still finding a difficult situation to see what the policy is trying to address, because whatever the policy is trying to address is already addressed in the existing laws.
The proposed National Religious and Faith-Based Organizations Policy 2023 seeks to provide standard guidelines on starting new religious institutions, restrict operations of untrained apostles, and ensuring accountability. To Bishop David Michael Chaze, the overseer of the Confederation of Pentecostal Evangelic Ministries, and also the senior pastor at Omega Healing Center, the policy is vague with many gaps.
I see many gaps, but first of all, the language in the document is vague. It seems to be targeting faith organization, but it is specifically coming for born-again churches. By constitution, religion and faith is not an organization, it's an individual. So I alone can be a religion, I can be a faith. So if you are legislating for faiths, it should be more specific. But what we are dealing with is a vague document trying to target, trying to seem that it is targeting many organizations. Then it boils down to targeting born-again churches. So first of all, I address the vagueness of the document itself.
Bishop Chaze argues all faiths in Uganda were founded by indigenous people, which makes it hard to put them under a broad policy.
I think there is a reluctance to enforce the law, and it is giving birth to many other laws which shall inconvenience the local people and even our worshippers. There is also the fact of forming what they call a board. Really understanding that is they are trying to form a state religion. Because once you form a board, and the board is in charge of liturgy, order, conduct, how you worship, whether you're a cult or not a cult, whether you are an ordaining body, and that makes you a religion. These religions we have in Uganda were started by indigenous individual people. They don't have a common base, they don't have a common root, they cannot be governed by a common top leadership body.
The proposed policy carries guidelines of monitoring and ensuring accountability, imposes tax on the incomes of worship centers, something Bishop Chiganda has dismissed as illegal since churches are non-profit making.
They are not profit-making entities. They are not there to make money. Let me start with the tax you're talking about. Every Ugandan contributes in ways of paying tax. Every Uganda pays taxes. The people that are coming to our churches, mosques, and the other worship places, they are taxpayers. They have already paid the taxes at their places of work. When they come to church and they give tithe and offering and zakah, they are only contributing to their place of worship to continue to exist, because it needs maintenance. A mosque needs to be maintained, And that is the very money that is used even to help widows, the very money used to help orphans. You are all aware that most of the schools in this country and hospitals and what were built by churches.
A meeting held on May 16, 2024, that included pastors, lawyers, advocates, and young ministers called for combined efforts with one voice to advocate for freedom of worship in different aspects.
When you read the draft policy of the current draft National Religious and Faith Organizations policy, the mischief is not clear. In their problem statement, they are saying there are 5 core issues they are addressing. But when you read the policy, there is no justification to address those 5 issues by creating a unique policy that addresses them. Morality has been handled by the Penal Code Act. Corruption, there is a whole anti-corruption court that even addresses that. There are a plethora of laws that deal with corruption. When you talk about the issue of lack of accountability, there are various laws that guide us on accountability. And most importantly for us as faith leaders, we have a self-regulation mechanism that internally checks us on how to deal with issues of accountability. So when you look at there is no legitimate purpose of creating a policy, but also secondly, as a lawyer, I will tell you that the policy infringes on Article 7 of the Constitution, which is supposed to be focused on the non-creation of a state religion in Uganda.
The reason why the church right now has come out to fight is the infringement on our rights for worship that has awakened us as the youth in church to be active. Because if we do not take a stand to act on this act that the government is intending to act on, then we are doomed, because we may wake up the next day and there is no religion, or because the government in its end goal, it wants to make a state religion.
Uganda is to celebrate its Christian Martyrs on 3rd June. This presents an opportunity to clerics to voice a unified voice against the planned legislation.
Faith leaders, this is a call to all faith leaders, Catholics, Anglicans, Muslims, Orthodox, to come out and speak out. Use the Namugongo Day, use the Martyrs' Day celebrations of 3rd June to speak out on this assault to our beliefs, to our faith, to our religion, to our freedoms.
Naguja Serena, NSTV.